We live in strange times today. Times where the hottest chick you might come in contact with could actually have a bigger cock than you.
Oh!
Yeah, I have no idea what to say right now.
Today's topic, we're going to be talking about alpha versus beta and the misconceptions and how a lot of people seem to think one is actually the other.
So, an actual alpha is, think of calm, charismatic qualities. Think of somebody who's confident, not somebody who's not afraid to be an idiot. There's a big difference. So, one of the best fictitious characters that was introduced as an analogy for the ultimate alpha is James Bond. So, when it was explained to me on all these different levels, and you always revert back to James Bond, it made a lot more sense. So, James Bond is your ultimate badass, right? He can do anything. He can fly a plane, ride a motorcycle. He's an amazing shot. He can beat up whoever he needs to beat up. Whatever he's got to do, he's awesome. Now he's a fictitious character, but the analogy is absolutely spot on accurate, because if some knucklehead, some buff idiot juicehead comes up to him in a bar screaming and yelling, "I'm the biggest, I'm the baddest, I'm the best," is James Bond going to lose his cool? First of all, is he going to fight this guy? Like, can you imagine James Bond actually getting in a fight with some idiot that just wants to swing around a bigger dick? There's no way, because that's not who he is. There's principles behind what makes him so cool, so classy, and again, so calm. I can't revert back to being calm. I can't revert back to that enough. That's such a
Calm,
key
collected,
point. Definitely.
are one of the key factors of being an alpha.
Yeah, because an alpha is so comfortable and confident with himself, he doesn't have anything to prove to anyone at any given point in time.
So let's talk about that point right there. I think that's a good starting point for this conversation. Calm and collected and doesn't give a shit what people think. These are the traits of an alpha.
Yeah, it's really just as simple as that. So alphas are a lot of times thought of as being pack leaders, and it has nothing to do with that. So it might end up that an alpha becomes a leader, but it's not necessarily required. Being an alpha has nothing to do with comparison of any kind. It's all about being in control of your own universe, being somebody who does what it is that you're driven to do. That's another thing. You're driven, like you have aspirations to become something, whatever it may be. That's one of the things, like when you ask a woman what she's attracted to in a man, the physical qualities, they like tall, dark, and handsome, but a lot of girls are notorious for
Drive. Women like
they
drive.
like the drive. They do. They
Whether
absolutely
it's
do.
a sexual drive or not, they still like it.
They like that
Motivation, ambition. These are all also qualities of seemingly healthy people.
drive. Absolutely.
If you're
Absolutely.
poor in health, you might have a low drive on all of the former mentioned.
Totally. And like we're talking about the calmness of James Bond, you have to have confidence in order to be calm, right? But we're all talking about a healthier person. So the person that doesn't have the ability to stay calm obviously is easy to upset. They're easy to penetrate their aura. They're not master of their own domain. They're at the center of their own, not the center of their own universe. They're not in control of themselves, basically. If somebody can come up to you, threaten you with words, and you become angry over that, now it's a natural human response, but it's also psychologically understand that it's an incredible weakness if somebody can use words and alter your emotions. Like, you're giving them a great deal of power. You can take somebody's power away by not reacting to them. And if someone comes up to your bar, and especially and starts saying a bunch of nonsense, you're a complete idiot if you let that affect you. Now, it's happened to me. It happens to everyone. We're all human, but understanding on a deeper level what's happening, it's really ignorant to actually care what someone thinks who's not worth the time of day. Someone's coming up to you being all douchey. It really, when you stop and think about it analytically, it makes no sense whatsoever
It's
to be affected by
ignorant.
it.
It's also immature. I mean, these are when you look at children and the way they behave and act. Often they respond with anger. They don't have the articulation and the words and the skills
Exactly.
to deal with a problem, so they get upset and fight. You know,
Totally. No, that's
and
great.
this is probably a lot of where that my guns are bigger than yours comes in. You know, I'm
absolutely.
the toughest. I
Yeah.
have the biggest toys. I sleep on the top bunk. You're the bottomer, and I'm the topper.
Right. No, totally. That's totally what it is. And I think that's why that put such a bad taste in people's mouth about being an alpha. They think, oh, sure, whoever's the biggest and the baddest is the alpha. That's why it's a bad thing. And it would be if that were the case. But it has nothing to do with comparison. It's not about who's the richest or the toughest or the best looking, how many women you've slept with, or how many inches your biceps are, or anything like that.
Women do like biceps.
They do like
Probably
those
a bigger
biceps.
bicep is more powerful than a giant foot. I'm just going to go out on a limb and say that. But,
Well, I don't know. A lot of them are pretty.
they like big feet.
They like big feet.
They do, but I'll tell you,
They like good
a
feet.
man
They
with
don't
a good
necessarily like
tongue
big feet.
and
They
is
like
good with his
feet.
words will destroy any Bigfoot out there. I can guarantee. I've read books on this shit. I'm telling you, it's all in how you use your tongue.
Oh, well, on a lot of levels, yeah. No, that's definitely key. Those are good qualities for sure. There's nothing wrong with having good feet, though. It's not about the biggest feet, but
Yeah, a good healthy foot. If you got like that tiny tinkle toe, you're in trouble, buddy. Especially if you're in poor health, because it's like a car tire. You can't drive on the road if it's half full of air.
that's right. Or if it's
Yeah.
a spare donut tire where it says right on it not to go
PS
over 45 miles an hour.
only.
Yeah.
You're gonna slide off the road, crash, and kill your family. And of course, if your tires aren't fully inflated, you may not be able to have a family anyway.
I love these analogies. They're awesome. So, okay, there's a reason why it's a common misconception also that women, well, it's not even a misconception. Women are attracted to the bad boy. A lot of them are. Some of them are not. But so you take the beta male versus the alpha male, and the seemingly alpha male is the bad boy. And then the beta male, who's the nice guy, looks at all these gorgeous women getting with all these assholes, and they constantly, I've heard it for years throughout my life. These nice guys, man, all these girls I like, they always want the asshole. I wish I was an asshole. I'm just going to be an asshole. Well, I'm telling you right now, and I'm sure you've seen this, whether you've realized it or not. If you're a beta male and you just all of a sudden decide to become an asshole to try to get a girl, you're not going to get a girl. So at least you had the friend zone going for you with that girl. If a beta male becomes an asshole, he's just a beta male that's an asshole. And now she doesn't even want to be your friend. So what you're missing.
Creepy asshole.
Yeah, super creepy. Yeah, because it makes no sense to be an asshole. There's not a reason behind it. But what they're missing out on is there's more to it than just being an asshole. So the typical bad boy that comes across as the asshole and is from time to time, he's also got good qualities going for him too. And believe it or not, those are the things that the girl is attracted to. And the asshole she doesn't actually like, or the asshole traits to him, she doesn't like, but she's willing to deal with the asshole traits in order to get the good traits. And the good traits are the confidence. He's extremely confident, like the guy that we're talking about. He's not afraid to take risks. He's not afraid to stand out and lead a crowd. Not that he cares if the crowd's following him, but he's not a follower. The bad boy is a leader. The bad boy takes initiative. The bad boy's strong and definitely confident. Even if he's an asshole, you have to kind of be confident and an asshole at the same time. If you're a natural asshole, the beta male being an asshole is totally fake.
Well,
But
the alpha mentality is a great power, and with great power comes great responsibility. So when you have the power of the alpha, it's very easy to go both ways. And we are just human, so you may be an alpha, but you see an easy way to, be an asshole in certain situations, and you may do that, or it may have just been how you're raised. Regardless, it's not so uncommon to see an alpha with some asshole traits.
no, I remember what I was going to say. Hang on. All right. So in conclusion, in conclusion of our that was the one. That was the one.
Shit.
Okay, pause.
Just say it. In conclusion.
So in conclusion of our James Bond scenario for describing the perfect alpha male, let's go back through and run some of the traits down. So an alpha puts his own needs first, yeah, but he's also nice, and he's nice just to be nice. Alpha's always positive, always makes good eye contact, which is another really good one. So I did this experiment here a while ago when it came to eye contact. So with anything, there's got to be a certain amount of balance, right? And if you're over projecting, then it becomes unnatural, which is what we're talking about with the beta males. They try to puff up and be this big alpha. They end up looking like a bigger beta than an alpha, or a bigger douche than what they had anticipated. So with eye contact, pretty much anywhere in the animal kingdom, including human beings, the person that breaks eye contact is usually submitting the person keeping eye contact. However, we are also intelligent beings with a large cerebral cortex. We have this ability to think and rationalize. We're not limited to our genetic code. We don't actually have to out alpha each other on the street because we're semi-civilized, right? So what I'm getting at is I would spend some time keeping eye contact with people throughout my day, like in the gym, in the bar, at the grocery store, wherever I'd go, not like walking through public places and staring people down, waiting for them to look at me. I just mean I went about my life, and when I made eye contact with somebody, everyone has a different level of comfortability when it comes to eye contact. So just because someone breaks eye contact doesn't mean they're the beta. Just because someone holds eye contact longer doesn't mean they're trying to be the alpha, if that makes sense. What might be comfortable to someone is not comfortable to me. So what I would do is purposely keep eye contact longer than I normally would, just to see what they would do. And it was always like just a fraction of a second longer that they pull their eyes away. But here's the other thing. If somebody would not pull their eyes away, I'm making eye contact with them. They're looking at me back.
Staring contest.
Yeah, it's a staring, and it's fucking weird because we're humans. We're not dogs fighting over a piece of steak. So if there's this prolonged period of eye contact, you have to follow with, I'd give them a nod or something like, hey, what's up, man? You know, I wouldn't even say that. I'd just kind of nod. Your eyes, your face, you know, you can read somebody's expression. You can.
I usually wink and lick my lips if they look too long.
Yeah, because we don't want it to be awkward. So that's what you really should do. But no, I'd make sure it didn't get awkward by giving them a nod. They'd almost always nod back or something like that. But what I definitely know, and then also keeping a straight line. Now this sounds like some beta male shit. It was just my own personal social experiment. So if you're walking straight at someone, they're walking at you. Someone's going to veer off out of the way. You know what I mean? Like someone's going to move out of the way. Who's it going to be? It's like a chicken race. Mm-hmm. And I have really nothing to prove. I don't have any problem moving out of the way. But at the same time, there's a certain level. I feel like the feminists are just going to rip this shit apart right now. What I'm saying.
It doesn't matter. We're men. They're going to rip us apart.
I know. The
fact that your voice has testosterone bubbling up in it.
That's right. Lots of it too.
That's right. You hear the depth of that bitch's fucking blue hair. I love it. God bless you.
I do love the blue hair though.
Oh my God.
Yeah, blue, green, all of it, purple.
Any of it. Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, it's fucking awesome.
Yoga pants, camel toe.
Yeah.
God bless them all.
Okay.
Those yoga pants look cute, by the way, ladies.
Put a book on your lap.
Adorable.
I'm tired of looking at the stiffy you just gave yourself.
Nobody's thinking anything sexual when you wear them. You should wear them every day.
Every day. Including during the times Rusty's doing his sociological experiments. So anyway, right. I'm walking at somebody, and instead of getting out of the way like I normally would, I would walk straight, kind of like a ninth grader does to a seventh grader in the hallway, like, I'm bigger, I'm not fucking moving, you got to move. I would do that, except I didn't have those sinister undertones when I did it. But and people would get out of the way naturally because they don't want to run into it. But some people much quicker than others. You know what I mean? Yeah. Some people would actually hold their ground and only barely move. And like I say, to keep
and other people
things...
test you and kind of they're like, are you really going to... Yeah, he is. And then they move.
Right, you know? Right, exactly.
Unless it's really another dude doing the same social experiment.
Right, which I doubt because
most... like fucking trains on a stormy night.
Those are the worst chicken races. You just smack into each other. It's more like a dumbass race. They shouldn't call it a chicken race.
You go, sorry, good game. Slap him on the ass and be on your way.
Oh, yeah. That's how I ended every eye contact session.
But so your experiment, you did this and you noticed that some people would move away
everybody
before.
Yeah, everybody moved out of the way because no one's actually aware of the game that you're playing with them. But it's more of an observation. But some people
not to
would
mention
do it.
You're 6'2". And you're not exactly tiny.
And most people are not 6'2". Yeah, that's very true. That's very true. But how quickly people would bounce out of the way made me think, okay, there's probably more beta traits in this person than there is in the person doing what I'm doing.
So just to be able to gauge the amounts, because we all, and not to be misconstrued on this, we all have the ability to be a beta or an alpha. You know, it's not like once you're an alpha, you're just always an alpha. You're going to be an alpha for the rest of your life. Your mood, there's a lot of things that factor into this. Situations, a guy's 7 feet taller than you, that's, intimidating. Or whatever it is,
Right.
You come up a mental giant walking at you and you know who this person is. You may, feel intimidated in certain levels of discourse,
Totally. And keep in mind, this is just an experiment for my own amusement. This is not limiting anyone to the difference between an alpha and a beta. Like if you move out of the way, you're a beta, you're a pussy. If you don't look somebody back in direct eye contact, you're a beta, you're a base.
I'm going to argue with you. You're a pussy. You should have just shoulder checked that bitch. But no, yeah, I hear you.
It does
totally.
depend on your mood, that's for sure. Yeah, because what I'm talking about are like what happens in the animal kingdom. We have the ability to communicate, so it's not quite the same. But it is interesting because to the other person that doesn't know that they are participating in this involuntary experiment, what are they thinking of me? They're probably, when they lock eyes with me and look away, they probably think I'm at least, they probably don't put too much thought into it at all. But if they put any thought into it, they're probably thinking, oh, that person's obviously confident, because when I look at somebody outside of doing this experiment, we lock eyes, and if I pull my eyes away first, I don't automatically assume this guy is amazing, but I also don't assume he's weak. I don't assume that he's scared of his own shadow because he kept his eyes on my eyes longer than I kept my eyes on his eyes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
well, I was thinking I should probably tell you my name's Chris Hansen and we're doing an investigation. No, but I was thinking about that. I watch a lot of stuff like that, and as you were talking, I'm thinking to myself, one of the things liars will do, and not to create a segue onto that, but they will overly look you in the eye. So there is a false detection of this, too.
Oh, totally.
It's scenario-based, obviously. If I'm saying, hi, so what are you doing? Why are you in this house of a 13-year-old girl? And what's your motivation here? That's different. They're going to look you straight in the eye as hard as they can, so you can tell when somebody's not genuine.
Sure.
Not always. I mean,
right.
These guys have been,
but in the obvious cases, absolutely.
But yeah, so it's not, it is situational, but in these cases, it's you didn't bait them to a house.
Right.
So it's very natural. You're catching people in their natural element, which I think is most important for some type of a social experiment, is that you create a situation that they feel the most natural in.
Exactly.
Where they're not going to detect anything.
Don't let them know they're involuntarily a part of your experiment.
And you could try this yourself. So everybody could go out today as you're listening to this and as you're walking down the street, just try it. And as a matter of fact, pick somebody that is bigger than you and stare them right in the eye and walk up to them. And if they don't move, kick them in the balls and run, because they're probably going to strangle you.
Yeah, tighten your shoelaces before you leave the house. You don't want to trip on shit.
But no, I mean, you could try these out for yourself to see that this isn't just anecdotal stuff that we're coming up with ourselves. These are things that, this is user friendly. You don't have to go to school to perform eye contact experiments, or do I move out of the way for somebody in the grocery store type thing.
Right. And it's also a fun thing to do for yourself, because the whole idea behind being an alpha, the ultimate is that you're so comfortable in your own skin. It has nothing to do with your size at all. There are tiny dudes out there that are more alphas than a lot of great big huge muscle bound dudes. It's all an attitude. Are you comfortable within your own skin? Can you just skip and dance and sing a song right through Central Park, the goofiest song and the goofiest dance you can think of, and not be fazed by how many people are looking at you going, what the fuck is this guy all about? If you are comfortable with yourself, you should be able to do that. And honestly, whether you want to be an alpha or not, you should respect yourself and love yourself enough to not be fazed by what other people think, to not give them that power over you. That's a voluntary thing that you're doing, whether you realize it or not. But it's good if you're trying to gain that confidence. Like, you're hearing this, you think, okay, yeah, that makes sense. I want more of that, but it's unnatural. It doesn't feel right. How do I do it? Well, the whole thing, fake it till you make it.
Yeah,
and it's
practice. You
practice.
need to practice.
It comes from
stuff.
Exactly,
Yeah, and you will get better at it.
Absolutely.
Trust us.
Yes.
I mean, I wasn't the most confident guy as a kid.
Sure.
And I don't know if it's same with you
Yeah.
or not, but
Yeah, totally.
I had to develop any sense of confidence I have, and it's actually gone overboard. It got to the point where I actually started turning some of my friends off. One of my close friends
coming across as cocky.
Yeah,
and stuff.
he called me, and there was a certain point in my band where we were getting really popular, where I became just almost unbearable to talk to. He probably went almost a year without calling me just because it was like I got so cocky, overly confident. But you know what? I think that was an absolute necessary stage in my life that I had to do, because it was like I had an injury, and it was an injury to my soul, my spirit, my self-esteem was fractured, and I had to push harder than normally anybody would have to do in order to stretch those muscles out to where they were functional again,
Right.
spiritually and confidently.
Right.
And now I feel like I've kind of pushed it so far that I feel like it doesn't ever scrunch back down to the level that it was. Not to say that something couldn't happen in my life and completely destroy my confidence and everything.
Totally. Yeah.
And we all got to be aware of that. We're not invincible, So don't trick yourself into thinking I'm going to fix this problem and it's just going to stay like that. It's like religious people will talk about that with God. It's not that you read the Bible and I'm saved. No, you got to keep doing it, because you're going to
Right.
slip up and sin, and you find yourself.
Yeah, they say you go to sleep in the spirit and you wake up in the flesh, meaning it's
Yeah.
a daily grind to get yourself.
Yeah, and it's the same
back
thing with
into
this. You need to practice this every day. I saw something a while back that was on the same lines of this. It was interesting. He was talking about try being an asshole for a day. Just try it. It's okay to be an asshole, and sometimes you need to, because you need to feel what it feels like to be able to do this. And for me, it's very hard. And what he said, he goes, okay, when you're at Dunkin' Donuts, or you're at Starbucks, or wherever you're at, why don't you just take your time? Take your time and read the menu. And don't look back and, there's a line of people behind me, I got to hurry up. Stop. Just stop that. Just sit there and look at the menu and go, yeah, just give me a second. And just be an asshole. Make everybody fucking wait for you. Just try it. Don't do this on a daily basis, but just try it and feel it. Feel what it feels like to actually go out and do something that makes you cringe. As long as you're not harming anybody.
Sure.
I mean, what's
Just an
the harm in
experiment,
it?
yeah.
It's just,
Well, it's not like there aren't
I'm not saying turn around and tell everybody to fuck off,
Right.
but just take a little extra time for yourself and just feel what it feels like to be in control of your space and your time and what you want. And if you don't have the decision, don't let people force you into making decisions, because this is a motif that you'll collect, and you'll start doing this in other areas of your life. It's like a virus. You need to learn how to be still and calm in any situation. And sometimes you have to put yourself in a situation that you normally feel tense in, and that's one of them. When you're the next person in line, and you're I don't know what I want yet, but I got to hurry up because there's 10 people behind me.
Right.
So
Yeah. No, that's absolutely that's brilliant, because it's a great example. The analogy's spot on, and it's not, like I say, it's not too damaging. But keep in mind, everyone's different. So this is all about finding some growth outside of your own comfort zone, basically. So if you're already the asshole that stands in line and takes
then
forever,
go sing in a park.
yeah, exactly. Go sing in a fucking park, because there's a million people that take too long. They're self-centered. He's not trying to encourage people to do that more. It's for the people that need to step outside their comfort zone. That's where all the growth is, outside your comfort zone. But that's actually really cool. I didn't know about that.
Yeah, I was saving that for you.
Yeah, I like that. So I want to digress for just a second. We're going to move forward. So James Bond, confident, assertive, powerful, but at the same time, he's kind. He's humble, he's gentle, and he's especially calm. So when you think alpha and you think this radical, fist blaring, fighting, screaming, yelling guy, that's not an alpha. And if that's what turned you off about an alpha, don't feel bad. That's the same thing that turned me off about it. Understanding that an alpha is actually kind for a non-self-seeking purpose, that opened my eyes to it. That made me want to be more like an alpha, because you're so comfortable with yourself that nothing can penetrate you. And that's all you. That's your battle with who you are in your head, and that's a pretty big deal.
I know it can penetrate you. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. No, I can't wait to hear
Had
the
a
other.
Beavis and Butthead moment there.
So you actually pointed out, we're big movie nerds always, but you pointed out a really good analogy just out of the cuff the other day about the movie Troy.
Yeah, the typical alpha male. There's a scene in Troy, which, by the way, is one of the greatest movies of all time.
Definitely.
For me, and we won't get into Hector and how we both cry like little babies when he dies.
That movie's awesome.
But it happens. You might, if you have a heart and a soul. But I think my ultimate alpha is Achilles. And one of the best scenarios of that is when they say, let's do the old school method, and you pick your best fighter versus my best fighter, and they bring out this giant Neanderthal looking guy, which is what most people would say is the typical alpha male. This is who we all envision when we see alpha. It's this giant man. So they send a child off to find Achilles because he doesn't give a shit. It's a war. He's an alpha. He's sleeping with 2 women at the same time, like most alphas will be doing. And this kid finds him, explains to him what's going on, proceeds to tell him that this is the biggest man I have ever seen. I wouldn't want to fight him. And Achilles very calmly looks down at him and says, well, that's why you'll never be remembered, little man, and rides off into the sunset with his hair flowing and his sexy buttocks flexing.
His oiled up
Just
abs.
trying to make you blush over here. His oiled up ass, yeah. So he
Abs.
rides off.
His abs, not his ass.
He rides off into the sunset.
Now he's blushing.
Am I? A little bit. I think I'm sweating too. That got me all hot.
Well, yeah, it did.
Frizzled. So he rides off, meets up with this guy, and what's the first thing this guy does when he sees Achilles? Achilles is a small man. He's a giant, big alpha, right? That's what we think. He does the typical, what stereotype would be of an alpha. He turns around and chants to his sycophants and says, make me look strong. Pounding. Oh, he roars to the crowd. The crowd roars back. He feels empowered. He's powerful and scary. He turns around with his big scarred up ugly face and stares at Achilles. Achilles is picking vaginal hairs out of his teeth from the 2 chicks. He does not give a shit about this guy. He spits a couple of pubes out, charges at this dude as fast as he can, jumps up, shoves his knife in his throat, fucking drops him like a fucking fly. Nothing. Simple. Very calm. He was not afraid of this guy, had no fear. And at the end, the king goes to hand him the scepter and goes, the ruler of Sicily owns this scepter. Is it Sicily? I don't remember.
No, your accent
wanted to
was
say
beautiful.
Sicily.
No. That was way too natural for me to interrupt. Go
But
ahead.
he doesn't give a shit at all. He just he looks at him and he goes, I don't fight for this king. And the look on his face is just like, what the fuck? There's so many moments in that movie where he's just like, yeah, I don't give a shit. You know, it's like the portrayal of, and so what makes this guy an alpha? Well, in this situation, he's part God. He's a demigod. He's invincible, at least he thinks. Of course, he didn't know that his fucking Achilles heel could get shot by a curly-haired beta male that looks like Justin Timberlake with fucking ripped abs.
Right. No, I couldn't have said it better.
In fact, I was watching it going, is that Justin Timberlake? It's not, though, I don't think.
No, it's at Orlando
I don't know who he is.
Bloom or whatever.
He's not an alpha. I don't care about him.
He's a good actor, but he was a
He
weasel
was a
in
good
that
alpha.
movie.
He was a bitch, and you wanted to
in
slap
that
him
movie,
so
he was a
bad.
weasel.
God.
Yeah. He was in Pirates of the Caribbean and what was that? Lord of the Rings. Amazing characters in both those movies. Great actor.
No,
but I
he's
agree.
a phenomenal
in
actor.
that
if you're
movie,
listening to this, Orlando, which I'm sure you are, because all you big-time actors are going to be listening to us. Especially when I start talking about your greasy, oily boobs.
boobs.
I mean butts.
Oh, that was
Butt cheeks.
Brad Pitt. You're talking. That's when you got flustered talking about Brad Pitt's ass.
No, he's smoking, man. He's like
So for the people that are thinking about watching this movie, make sure you get the theatrical version of Troy, not the XXX version, which is what Brian's obviously talking about.
But you're going to be thinking about the XXX version as you.
Oh, how
watch
can
it
they
now.
not?
The whole time you're like, "Where's the pube scene?"
But no, if you haven't seen that movie, check it out. That example, alpha versus beta, is absolutely perfect because that's a great analogy. I had an analogy that I thought was equally righteous. The farting in the bar one.
Yeah. Well, this is one that you brought up a few times, and it doesn't even have to be in a bar. I mean, if
No,
you,
it doesn't
in
have to
a
be.
classroom, if you fart in class, kids, if you're listening to this,
No, with a confrontation, though.
yeah. But I'm just going to
okay.
add
You're
that
just
to
gonna have
that.
some
But if
fun
you
with
fart in class, just own it. It's all going to come down to owning it. We'll get to that point, but your analogy is a brilliant one as well, because I think that this would be possibly one of the ultimate, other than the other one you said, just go, you have a nice minty breath.
Just
Compliment him or something like that. But
yeah, just the most random, calm thing you can think of. This because obviously, someone's getting in your face, and he's a beta. He's projecting to be an alpha, so he's puffing out his chest. He wants to fight, especially if it's in a group where there's people around and everyone's gathered around. You're like, oh shit, it's going down. Who doesn't like to see a good fight, right? So he's in your face. He's challenging you. He's obviously saying a bunch of stupid stuff because this is a very stupid person to be acting in such a way. Imagine not giving him the reaction that he wants. He wants you to get mad back and you I'm gonna kick your ass too, or whatever kind of dumb shit they say.
Whatever
I honestly
tough
don't
guys
even
do.
know. Yeah,
You need to
seriously.
watch more Brad Pitt movies.
Well, he doesn't usually do the dumb beta male stuff. But imagine a moment of silence. This guy monologues, or whatever you want to call it. He just screaming and yelling, huffing and puffing, and then he stops. It's your turn to respond. Are you going to punch him? Are you going to scream back? Are you going to assault his mother? Everyone's standing around. There's 30 people there.
The moment
And
of silence.
The moment of silence. And let's say that you curl your lips slightly, pick your foot up off the ground just a little bit to show that you're raising your butt cheek a little bit, and you let out the biggest, longest, wildest fart right in front of hot girls, in front of absolutely everybody. And then you just all of a sudden have this extreme moment of physical relief. You're just like, oh God, that felt good. I'm sorry. What were you saying? I didn't catch any of that. I mean, can you, first of all, you'd have
I
to
had
be
fart so bad.
You'd have to be a confident motherfucker to fart in a moment of silence when everyone in the room is staring right at you and own it. But not only that, you're giving this overprojecting beta male the biggest slap in the face. He's
worse than a chokehold.
he doesn't have any fucking clue how to respond to that because everyone is now laughing at how funny you are. Now, here's the other thing. That's a beautiful, perfect scenario. Unless you don't own the fart, like Brian said, it all comes down to owning it. You just sit there and fart in a moment of silence, and then you get embarrassed, and the fight is now over. That beta male just won because you just destroyed yourself.
Yeah.
You have to fucking own it.
I can one up you on that.
Yeah.
If you fruit cup him,
What? No.
fart in your hand, and then stick it in his face and go tuck to the hand.
Absolutely valid as can be.
Now that might actually be considered
A little fruity.
assault. A little fruity, yeah. But yeah, no. The point, of that.
You get the idea, though.
Or anything where you just where you compliment him, or say, "Are you peacocking? Are you peacocking? You're trying to attract me, aren't you?"
Right,
just turn
right.
it around somehow where
confidently
it makes it
and
very
calmly.
obvious you are not hearing his message that he thinks is so obvious to everybody in the room.
Right.
Come on, I practiced this in front of the mirror a million times with my bro tank top and whatever else tough guys do. I don't know. I do know because I used to be a tough guy. Damn it, I used to sit and flex and be like, "Fuck yes, I look like Van Damme, bitches." And then I'd go out to like graffiti night with my tank top and look like a total douche. Just walk around staring at people. Which way's the gym?
Shut up. Sorry, smartwatch.
Why does your watch sound like a woman? This is a man's car. I'm just kidding, all you blue
I
hairs.
know. We didn't invite Samsung
The
into
blue
here.
hairs are going to get us. We are nearing the hour. We are actually coming up on that. Is how much more we got to go on
Not
that?
that much more. So another couple of quick examples. If you try to prove that you don't care what other people think, you're probably not an alpha. Now that's another common thing that I've heard for a lot of different times for people in general, not even trying to be an alpha, but people that usually say, "I don't give a fuck what people think. I don't give a fuck what people think." They usually care what other people think more than anyone else. So yeah, that's something that's
So
always
trying
gonna
to
bother me.
prove that you don't care is in fact doing the opposite.
You're also seeking validation.
just
and if
don't care, and that's tough. How do you just not care what people think?
it takes putting yourself outside of your comfort zone. It takes a lot of practice, like we
There you
say.
go. So we're back to that again. So
Yeah,
it's
always.
always going to come back to, guys, you have to practice this stuff. You don't just go out and go, "I'm going to be an alpha tomorrow. I listen to this podcast or I read a book and I can do everything it says to do." No, it's like anything. You learn the guitar. You don't open a guitar book and bam, you've mastered it. Your muscles have to remember this. And it's the same thing with your body. Your reactions, your chemical reactions, your impulses, that your blood pressure, everything, your pulse is all reacting a certain way, making you feel a certain way. You have to practice this. And you see this with the professional divers that can hold their breath longer, or ninjas that can sneak into a room without you seeing them. I don't know about that, but help me out here, god damn it.
Yeah, no, you're spot on. Well, it reminds me of that whole saying where knowledge is power. Then someone else comes along and says, "Well, knowledge isn't power. Applied knowledge is power." I remember thinking, "You're a fucking douche. Leave it alone. We understand knowledge is power." But honestly, no, that's right. That re-clarification of that is spot on. Knowledge doesn't do you any good without actually applying it, which means you don't actually do anything. You don't practice anything. The knowledge is absolutely useless. Yeah, the application is absolutely everything.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like saying that the study of madness doesn't actually bring about sanity. It's the same thing as, it's just an example of applied knowledge versus just actual knowledge. You got to get out there and do it. But anyway, another couple of quick examples. So understanding that you're not supposed to be validation seeking, and then you go about practicing these things. And then you wonder after you've done something if it looked like you were seeking validation. Once again, you're probably not an alpha. Like it really comes down to actually not caring. Mm-hmm. So the more you think about it, the more you try to think about it, which I totally get is hard. It's going to take some time, but understanding that it's important to do.
If you can actually get to the point where you genuinely do not care what people think, you will be on the path of being the leader in control, which is what an alpha actually is.
Right, in control of yourself, your destiny. You're in control of you. Yeah.
Other people don't control you by what they think. You're not seeking trying to satisfy everybody,
right.
or
But you're not seeking to control anyone else either.
No,
that's
that's not
control. What you're
control.
saying, but
No,
that's another common
I'm saying
misconception.
you are the leader in control.
Yeah.
I'm the one that's controlling,
the master of your own universe.
Yeah.
And you're exactly right. It is really hard to
not
do.
following anybody.
Right. Yeah, to actually not care. It sounds counterproductive, because in order to become someone who cares what other people think to somebody who doesn't care what other people think, you have to think about how to do it. But in order to do it, you can't think about it.
That's
so it's like
clear your mind of all thoughts. All right, I'm thinking about not thinking.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So it really takes a lot of practice and just having the right
social
mindset.
insomnia of some kind.
Yeah,
just
but
keep yourself awake when you need to forget what you're thinking.
Right. Totally. Well, and another way to think about it, I don't know if you ever saw that goofy movie what was that called? Team America, whatever, the puppet movie that the South Park guys did.
I watched about 5 minutes of it, and I'm like, oh, cool, Barbie dolls that cuss. I'm over it. But I know I must have missed it because that movie was huge.
Well, it was huge. You either like it or you don't. If you didn't like it after 5 minutes, you won't like the movie. And I'm not like here to say it's awesome or it sucked or anything else, but something about that movie, there's a bunch of, the South Park guys, there's a lot of their material is pretty bizarre and outlandish. Well, in that movie, they had so many different things in there. They had a sex scene with these stupid dolls. It was just a joke because they're obviously dolls, puppets on strings and stuff. And the sex scene was so exaggerated. It was so long, all these different positions, to the point where one of the puppets actually was shitting on the other puppet's face. Like, I know that sounds gross, but it's in the movie. They actually had fake puppet shit. But what I found out, the reason I'm bringing that up, like, oh, wow, you don't care what people think. You're talking about puppet shit.
His favorite part, by the way.
My favorite part. What was fascinating, years after watching that movie and not knowing what to think about it, somebody told me the reason they had that scene, the puppet scene with the sex and the pooping on the face, was because it was so memorable, because it was gross and it was, highly inappropriate and everything else. That took the attention away from the other things in the movie that they actually wanted to do that they're afraid was going to get cut. So in order to do that, to distract from the rest of it, you have to do something kind of bizarre. So the reason I bring that up, use that as an analogy to think about, well, how am I going to do things that are uncomfortable to become somebody who doesn't care what other people think? This is why you really need to go skip through the park and sing. You need to get out there.
Distract yourself.
You got to distract yourself. Exactly. You got to get out there and do some wild, crazy shit. Like they say that bungee jumping is one of the largest stress relievers on the planet, because in that moment where you're jumping off the bridge or crane or whatever it is, you're just, you're screaming for you.
Matters.
You think you're going to die. Nothing matters. Absolutely. I mean, it does relieve a certain amount of what they call eustress versus distress. It's high stress, but it's positive.
Yeah. How's that conversation you're worrying about reflecting you now?
Right. Exactly.
At that moment, are you worried about how stupid you looked at the company party last week?
Yeah.
When you got drunk and
all you want to do is get down
made
safely.
Barbie dolls have sex.
Yeah. Am I ever going to see my bed again?
Go Team America.
Exactly. So you don't have to bungee jump in order to build confidence, but it's an example to get you to understand if approaching, let's say a lot of guys don't understand how to be successful with women. They genuinely want to meet women. Not all guys, not all people want to meet in a bar. Like I said, that's a social place for adults. A lot of people would really like to meet people outside of a bar. But let's say you want to approach you're a guy and you want to approach a woman. You're not sure how to do it without sounding creepy and all that. You need to practice. But let's say that just going up to a woman and talking to her and saying hello, for you're not comfortable with that. So what you should actually do, instead of walking up to a woman and saying hello, you should actually, I can't think of an example, do something 10 times more extreme than that. You know what I mean? You maybe maybe walk up on stage and ask somebody what their name is when they're in the middle of giving a speech. Don't do that. But you know what I mean? Just try to think of different ways
And then not worry about it.
and not worry about it, that are way more bizarre, that are 10 times more extreme. Don't hurt anyone. Don't disrespect anyone. Like I said, I wish I could think of a better analogy, but you get the idea. If you shoot for 10 times further than what your comfort zone is,
Yeah.
now walk up to the woman in the bar. You go, oh, this is a fucking breeze. Hey, what's up? My name's Rusty.
Compared to bungee jumping, that ain't
yeah.
shit. Yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah, compared to bungee jumping or compared to the other thing you're going to do. Even it doesn't even have to be like a magnitude of what you're trying to accomplish. So if you want to walk up and talk to a girl, you don't have to do something 10 times more extreme on the level of talking to someone. You can just go run and sing and skip through the park. Now that sounds simple. To some of you it is. To most of you it's not. And it's really easy to sit there, listen to this, go, oh yeah, I could totally do that. Fucking do it. Just turn off the computer right now, go outside, go to a park and go fucking do it. Go skip through a park and sing My Little Teacup or something as loud as you can in front of everyone. If you think you can do it, go do it. And if that petrifies you, you're not alone. You have a reason to be scared because you have, well, I don't know what happens psychologically to let yourself be scared of that. There's no reason to be scared, but it's a normal thing is what I'm saying.
Yeah,
and it shouldn't be is also what I'm saying.
So to recap, some of the key factors, hopefully they're highlighted there. One is staying calm, collected. You're very comfortable in your own skin. In order to do this, you have to overcome fears, which one of the main social fears are what people think.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to overcome what people think of you and stop caring. You first off, this is a little thing I used to tell myself, and it works sometimes, it doesn't always. But it might work for some of you. It's none of your business what anybody thinks. Okay? You don't have the right to know what they think or to care. It's not your business. So mind your own goddamn business and stop worrying about what other people think. You fucking assholes.
Yeah, honestly, yeah. That's exactly right. Yeah, no, it's
And
none
think
of
about that. When you do that, when you worry about what everybody thinks, you're actually an asshole. Because you're invading people's personal thoughts. That's their thoughts. And it doesn't matter anyway, because even if they told you what they think, you're going to still have to think about what they think based on what you think they think anyway.
Right.
It's all going to be what you think. Now you're just worried about what you think they think about what they think. You're fucking a retard on top of it. So,
right.
You know, just stop it. Just stop worrying what people think and prove it to yourself that you don't care. Take your pants off and walk out and get your mail right now. I'm just kidding. Don't do that. God, you're stupid if you did that. But I love you.
I do it in my boxers all the time. It's actually quite cozy.
You know, there are things that you've got to do to test the limits. Get out of your comfort. Get out of your Tempur-Pedic comfort. Your comfort zone. Get out of your comfort zone. That's another big one. You need to practice getting out of your comfort zone. All right? You need to stop seeking validation from other people. It doesn't matter what they think. It only matters what you think of yourself. You are the one that is in control of you. And when you are the leader of yourself and your own destiny and in control, that is what's attractive.
Yeah, absolutely spot on. No, it's actually quite selfish to be validation seeking. That's exactly what it means. So real quick, I want to go through a couple of things. We talked about alphas. It's actually, in order to understand alpha males, it's just as important to understand what it means to be a beta. Not to mention that there are just as many stereotypes behind being a beta male. So can you still be considered an alpha if you're scrawny, vulnerable, intellectual, emotional, highly expressive, or just flat out wear skinny jeans? Can you still be considered an alpha? You're goddamn right you can, because none of those things make you a beta. Now, those are negative affiliations with being a beta, just like there's negative affiliations with being an alpha.
Someone disagrees. A goddamn hipster queer. I'm kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm like, who the fuck are you describing here?
I know. And as soon as they say, oh, yeah, no, you can still be an alpha, you're like, bullshit.
No, but and that's a really good point, because a lot of people can get wrapped up in that, and they look at themselves in the mirror with their glasses and their skinny jeans and their lumber jacket that they think they fucking log lumber or whatever. They've never even seen an axe, you know, whatever the hipsters are doing nowadays. And they wonder, like, can I be an alpha?
Yeah,
And it's like, absolutely you can, because the traits of an alpha have nothing to do with how you dress.
right. It's not what you're wearing or
As a
what
matter
you're
of fact,
holding.
if you did dress outlandish, it's just going to be more attractive because it makes people stare at you. And if you own yourself and are comfortable,
Right,
that whatever you're wearing is going to become it.
right.
You'll see
right.
somebody else wearing skinny jeans the next day and be like, what the fuck?
Yeah, the
And you
only
did that.
fads that work is basically confidence, because
Yeah.
you could take somebody that's super comfortable with themselves. One day they could be wearing skinny jeans and have a man bun. If they're super cool, charming, charismatic, they're going to be liked by people. The
You
next
can't-
day,
you you can't.
Yeah.
No man buns.
not a-
No man can have a man bun.
I'm not a fan of the man buns.
No, I'm not either. But
But the
to each his
ultimate-
own. And I've seen
Yeah.
people that have confidence with that on a level that I would say they were probably alpha behavior, just not around me. I'm kidding.
No, I know exactly what you mean. For real. Well,
I'm purposefully being an asshole on here just to get more views.
just just to have some fun with it. No, you're absolutely right though. Like it's not any of the material things. It's all it's an attitude. So I've met
Yeah.
tiny, scrawny little dudes. Like, I know musicians that are tiny guys. I've bartenders that are more alpha than the vast majority of the giant, muscly juice heads that I go to the gym with. Like there's no comparison between its behavior. The bottom line is alphas are leaders of their own lives, while the betas follow the crowd. That's what we're talking about. Don't get hung up on the details. Don't get hung up on the stereotypes. Betas have no vision. No vision. They don't fish. They have no vision. They have no values, no purpose, and no opinions of their own. They simply go with the flow, follow others, do what they're told, and accept the fate of whatever their environment might be leading them up to. So whether it's somebody around them telling them who they are or something around them, that's it. They have no self-drive.
They turn the other cheek.
They turn their little bronze, greased up, oily butt cheek. Basically what we're talking about, no self-esteem, no confidence, no integrity. Whatever they can do to make other people like them, validation seeking. So here's another one. There's something about complaining that we haven't talked about yet. Alphas never complain. That's one of the very first key things, regardless of all these other things that we've talked about. If you work with a group of people, there's somebody you think might be an alpha or might be beta, you're not sure, you're going to hear people complain when you work with them. You work with people, you get to know them better than your own family sometimes. You spend more time with them. So if there's someone that stands out that never complains, in fact, they're just captain optimistic all the time. Every time something goes bad, they're like, oh, it's all right, guys. No, we got this. We'll have a fun. We'll get a pizza. We'll stay up late and work. That's the alpha. The guy that complains is the beta male. Alphas never complain. So with complaining, there's a quote that I heard years ago that has absolutely transformed my life. And at the time, I had no idea that was affiliated with alphas. But so when it comes to complaining, whenever something happens, there's basically three choices that you're left with when something happens to your life that you don't like. So you can either, one, change the situation. You can, two, accept the situation. Or three, you can leave the situation, depending on what it is. Now, that it might be a hard choice. It might be all based on this situation, all three of those. There's nothing I can do about it. Well, if there's nothing you can do, if you can't leave because of blah, 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 if you can't change it because of blah, 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 guess what? If you're an alpha, you're going to accept it. I can't fucking change it and I can't leave. I'm going to accept it. Either way, you're not going to complain. So the beta is the one that complains. Alphas don't do that. And anyway, that if you actually deduct what it means to complain about something and give yourself those three choices, it just completely changed the way I looked at everything.
That's huge.
Yeah, alphas take full responsibility for their own lives, period. Being an alpha has nothing to do with how you compare to anyone else. It only has to do with who you are, how authentic and true to yourself you are, and what you bring to the table. So do you want to love, honor, and respect yourself? Do you want to start standing up for yourself? Do you want to be that person who always lifts other people up? Do you want to provide value to everyone that you meet? Are you ready to draw positive attention to yourself? Because people seek you out based on the value that you provide. Are you ready to own up to your flaws and mistakes? I didn't realize I wrote so many questions down. Do you want to be able to laugh at yourself because you're so comfortable with who you are that nobody can take that away from you? Well, here's what's most important, remembering how to better yourself in any situation. Everything you have ever wanted exists on the other side of fear and on the outside of your comfort zone. Will Smith actually does an amazing video. It's on YouTube. It's about skydiving. He goes skydiving. He talks about fear. If you haven't seen that, you have to check it out. Will Smith is just an awesome guy, and that analogy he gives is perfect. So check it out. Just YouTube Will Smith skydiving fear. But if you haven't already watched it, understand that it's a brilliant analogy on how important it is to understand that fear is an illusion, not to be confused with danger. Danger is very real, but fear is not. Everything you've ever wanted lives on the outside of your comfort zone. So if you want to better you, you're going to have to work for it. You're going to have to do the things that will make you uncomfortable. You want to be an alpha who provides value, lifts other people up while achieving positive attention and accomplishments that only previously you were able to dream about. You're going to have to be brave, take a chance, put yourself out there. You're going to have to try new things and be comfortable failing until you learn how to do it. Remember, confidence comes from competence, and competence comes from repetition. So to get confidence, you have to just get out there and do it. And then do it and do it and do it over and over and over. Understand that the satisfaction of achieving your goals will always come, whether it's making more money, gaining more muscle, becoming more successful with women, whatever it is. You absolutely have got to start taking chances and getting experience. You put in the work, the results will follow. It's been that way from the dawn of time. But in this case, becoming an alpha will mean doing things and putting yourself in situations that would normally petrify you. Don't give in to that fear. Stop going with the flow. Stop being a thermometer. Start being a thermostat. Start being the leader of your own destiny and putting back value into the beautiful and amazing world that you were so blessed to be a part of. Take those chances.
If you liked what you're hearing today, please subscribe for more videos like this. Click the little bell icon, and we'll notify you every time we upload a video. We have a lot of controversial topics that we're going to be bringing up. Most of these are going to have to do with genitalia, so stay tuned for that because
And bronzed buns.
and bronzed buns and beautiful hair. So all of these things are important because what's the biggest thing in life? Getting laid. Kidding.
It's got to be at least number
It's one of
1.5.
You know, I joke about this, but it's actually one of the biggest problems in society. And this may be a segue to another podcast that I would like to talk about is males that don't have the skills to get women. This is a problem.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a
So
very common
anything we
problem.
can do, and why is this a problem? If you look at the rates of pedophilia and rapists, now there's no real category for how to categorize if somebody's a pedophile or a rapist. There's all kinds of them. But I can tell you right now, not every pedophile has low self-esteem, but every man with low self-esteem has a significant chance of being a pedophile. And we're going to get into that. If you think that sounds disagreeable or you want to argue with that, then check out my next podcast because I'm telling you right now, a lot of these predators are guys without the skills to get other women. So the best thing we can do other than euthanizing all of these people is teach men to get the skills to find a partner in life. This is the elephant in the room, signing off.